I'll call the meeting to order. First up, modifications and changes.
Did it record?
I didn't hear
Me either. Sorry. Technical.
Recording in progress.
All right, modifications and changes. No, hearing none, I'll move on to public comment. I don't think there's anybody here from the public tonight. So we'll move on to review and approval for the minutes of November 22nd. How's it look, Sandy?
Look fine.
All right, motion to approve.
God, one of these days I'm gonna miss something
Second.
terrible.
Eli with the first, Heather had the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. All right, up next, Trout River Dam letter review.
10 letter.
So the folks that were in here a few meetings ago sent the follow-up letter asking for those requests be in the, just to basically move forward. So Abby has a nicely letter-headed copy.
Sam will sign it,
So
please.
if
Nice
you guys,
letter.
if the trustees agree, then Sam can sign off and they can move forward.
I think that letter was excellent.
Yes, it was. I move we send it.
Second.
Sandy with the first, Eli had the second. All those in favor of signing the letter of support say aye.
it.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. All right.
I did make coffee if anybody wants it.
Good one here.
Just appreciate the aroma.
All right.
That's for waking up.
Thank you. All right. Up next is Heather with Vermont Healthy Communities.
Yes, so, this came across my radar a week or two ago, and I wondered if it was something, we'd benefit with or not, so I was just wanting to bring it to everybody to see if we want to explore this. Cause as I was thinking about it, what you can get if you sign on to it, so, this is the Vermont Healthy Communities, pilot project. It's about bringing communities together, looking at different demographics within our community, and supporting community projects and design. We already have the Vital Village project, and so I was thinking maybe it'd be redundant, but then I was kind of starting to wonder if this could actually be support to help revitalize the Vital Village project, because it comes with support for helping to, well, the way I understand is this project would give services such as stakeholder engagement work and campaigning about the project, advertising, so it has a money value to it, but not necessarily money to do the projects, but to get people excited about it again.
We did get them excited once and they didn't stay excited very long.
But then we also had a pandemic, and so like we need to revisit if we want to be able to do some of the work that we were thinking about doing and move forward with some of the projects. Some community support would be like we need to rebuild that excitement and the engagement. And it also got me wondering about the Parks for All project. So that is a town project up the emergency services building, but that also is
Oh, that's the big one?
yeah, that also needs like a lot of support. So it kind of made me wonder, maybe we do this just for us, or maybe we do this in terms of the Vital Village and the Parks for All, tying in both parts of our community together. Because part of it is about equity and access, and so it helps with maintaining, how our community members can get from here to there. It ties into, it could potentially tie into the sidewalk project we're working on, and so there's a lot of possibilities. I don't know a ton about it other than looking through the website, but I was just wondering if it's something we would want to invest some time looking into.
Do you think somebody from there would chat with us?
Maybe,
Give us an idea of
most of the time with projects like
what
this,
they do?
they could at least give a call, but it sounds
Right, like a Zoom or something.
yeah, and I think on the website, they kind of listed some more information. Oh yeah, so there's the services. It says services will include activities such as, and there's building community power, outreach and engagement, design and technical support.
It says working with local leaders to engage the community.
Yeah, and it's a
Doesn't say
rolling
how.
mission, so there isn't a specific deadline, other than they have they're looking to do this for 35 communities.
So is it like a grant thing?
Yes, I think so, but it doesn't say it's a grant, it's called technical assistance.
So it's like a grant, but instead of giving you money, they give you labor.
in-kind grant.
Right.
Basically, yeah. I hadn't seen anything on the website. I don't know, I mean, John, if you went on the website at all, I didn't see anything that said anything about money. It was really they want to provide support for communities who are looking at supporting their community, all the projects within their communities.
So it pretty much sounds like everything that we're trying to accomplish with Vital Village. I mean, if we can get these people to help support that and promote that, I think it might be a good idea in time and parks for
All
all,
the help we can get.
right?
I don't think it hurts to try.
Yeah, we can ask them. But if they're
Can't
gonna
learn
have,
more than not like what we hear.
right, yeah, that's right.
So would this be something that one of you two could reach out to a little more?
Well, I'll contact them, yeah.
Awesome. I don't know any of the people that are involved in this project. I'm not familiar with any of them.
That's fine, I'll reach out, because I really know.
He's the reach out.
Perfect.
Reach out person, but yeah, we've had a conversation already with that, remember I explained the TIP program. They had a follow-up conversation with the consultant on that, and to understand a little bit more about what the village possibly could do with it. So we're basically, she's gonna send me another email with another to-do list, after this to-do list, to just kind of narrow it down and see if it would be right for the village. So we're at that. But, I mean, it looks positive for sure. The other positive thing I liked about it too was, you know, I think traditionally it's been, like you think St. Albans, you know, you think of sidewalks and all of these types of things, but she said it could also be used for power. So the light department, so is there different renewable energies that this TIF district could do to help build infrastructure? So again, it may not be a sidewalk, but it could be another solar panel system or a battery, you know, the things we've been talking about. So that is infrastructure. So yeah, I can tie it all in and see what these folks have to say and kind of report back.
Okay,
Sounds good.
thank you.
All right, Abby, you're up with some budget stuff.
It's gonna be pretty brief tonight. I'm not in a position to put the electric department budget in front of you yet. It's drafted, but there's some big ticket items that we need to kind of discuss tonight. But before we get into the electric department, I want to start back with the capital projects for the highway department. We spoke about that, I've made some changes and updates and kind of color coded
Fancy.
that one. You guys mind sharing for a second?
Sure.
We're gonna look at
Here
it.
we go.
Okay. John's
Color
looked
together.
at it 100 times.
Oh.
So I can share it with him.
Oh, he's memorized.
He's probably sick of hearing me walk in his office and be like, wait, what about this? Okay. So we had a discussion with department heads the other day because one of the questions that we had was if we were gonna be able to pull the sewer work that needs to be done for Maple Park and Church Street off in 2023. The answer is that yes, it's looking like we will be able to get that construction done in 2023. It may be towards the end of 2023. So I left that on there. There is a change to the Maple Park number. The previous one that I gave you was about 52,000. It got increased to 58 because in the park there's the fountain that's kind of in the middle. The sidewalk leading up to it and around is pretty rough. So
It's too dangerous to use.
we had talked about replacing that. This was something that community members have brought up. So I had Gary kind of lump that all in. So when they're doing the road, they'll do the handwork and just do asphalt around that to clean that up a little bit. And I've already kind of talked to Ken a little bit too. I want to see about doing some flowers and dressing that fountain up a little bit.
It's been done before in
Yeah.
previous years and it looked wonderful.
This past year, we had some extra flowers Ken threw in there. So we'll give that a little more TLC this spring. It's on my list of my flower projects for the spring.
Use a road.
Yeah. So Church Street is still on there as far as the paving, and that would have to be funded. I took the the speed bumps out and have that just in the regular part and not kind of factor that into the budget. I lumped the zero turn and the culvert thaw together. My thought process there is to just get one loan to cover both pieces of equipment rather than having so many loans taken out, and maybe we'll get a better rate on it. I'm gonna try to work with the bank, so those are still there.
What did you budget for the zero turn?
13. That was based off the numbers kind of just for the gas card. Okay.
So,
Hmm?
I forgot we should maybe up that a little bit just in case we get that grant. What do you think about that?
We can talk about that tomorrow. But, and then the Advent tractor we took out for this year. And we've obviously got the plow truck, and just an update on the plow truck. The plow truck is in Vermont. The truck itself is all done. I'm not sure if Charlie Boys has shipped it to Viking yet to get the body and get the rest of the work on, but we have pictures. We've seen it. It's here.
It's real.
So
Does exist.
hopefully mid-January. It's about 4 weeks once it goes to Viking. So that's a plus. I did do some preliminary calling around to the banks for rates, but I won't put it officially before you guys yet because I'm gonna have to call around again. We were exploring if the bond bank was an option, and their rate actually ended up being a lot higher than one of the local banks. So we'll most likely end up with a local bank, is gonna be my recommendation to you.
Church Street interest 4% on paving project?
That's probably high, but Vermont Bond Bank really surprised me. Their rate came back at 3.5.
Yikes.
Usually it's like 1.2 to 1.5.
So just for the truck, just to give you what we're looking at for rates, People's Trust came back at 2.75. Community National was 4.4, and the bond bank was 3.57. So 4% is probably high-ish, but it's probably not too far out of the realm either. So that is, like I said, that's probably a little bit high, but right now the rates are not pretty. The one discussion I wanted to have, Missisquoi Street and the Pearl Street. So right now, I will be submitting a grant application tomorrow in hopes to get Pearl Street funded. It's in 20% match, cash match. It's not an in-kind. And then we also have the Missisquoi Street where there's been issues with water runoff, and it's pretty rough. The first, section of Missisquoi Street there, the sidewalk's pretty rough. So redoing from Pleasant Street, right? That's Pleasant.
Yep.
Pleasant Street to the end on the right-hand side going down Missisquoi. So with what we have for sidewalk appropriation, if we get the appropriation between what we're putting in there this year, what we have in there, and what we're adding next year is just under 42,000. So that would cover our match, which is about 10,000, and it would also cover the Missisquoi Street, and also that would also leave about $8,000 to $9,000 left in the sidewalk appropriation fund.
Great.
Only catch-22 on that is I won't have an answer if we get this grant until March,
Time in March.
probably after we go to vote. So what's in front of you is kind of the best case scenario, but we may have to revisit this.
Well,
And I don't, or you can tell me how you want me to budget it right now.
can we keep it like this, planning on a 10% match, and if we don't get that grant, we don't have to bill?
Correct.
It's not, the voters would just approve that we do bill.
When we
But
get,
And then when
we
we comes fall, when we do the tax rate, everything will kind of be
Right.
adjusted essentially. So this is best case scenario, and like I said, 3 times in your office today of how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to present, 2 or 3 different scenarios, or this is the best case scenario if we get this grant, and if we don't, then maybe we can revisit it at that point in time. But that's the only downside to this, is some of these grants we don't know until after we already have to go before the voters with the budget.
Nothing we can do about that.
So my only question is Church Street. I thought we scrubbed that. Church Street paving.
So that was connected to the Church Street sewer repair. But it sounds like they're going to be able to get the sewer repair done in 2023. So then we would have to, could repave it after. The other option is we can just have, after we do the sewer repair or upgrade, we could just do a thin, like, shim it and then do the full on paving in 2024.
Right, because maybe I'm confused. I thought it was
We're talking about
Maple Park sewer project.
Maple and Church.
Yeah.
It didn't went to full length church?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's the full length.
No, I think
The
it's
church is a couple.
basically a portion of Maple that church sees in front of church, or in front of Maple.
So between Maple Park?
Yeah, I
the
think,
full
and the
length.
Bismarck down through to
Yeah.
about where the
Okay.
church is.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought we had gotten, because when Ken was in here, we asked him how bad it was, because it was on the docket to get paved, but he's saying, yeah, it's not that bad. But it is.
For church, but yeah, but the sewer line, they camera the sewer line, and the sewer line needs to have work done. They're gonna do it, I think, a full replacement of a whole section there. So it makes no sense, obviously, to do the paving, then turn around and dig it up. So we could still probably push this off to 2024, because by the time the sewer happens and everything, it's probably gonna be late summer, fall. So we could just, like I said, Ken said we could shim it and then push the paving into 2024 if that's what you would
That
like
would be
to do.
better.
So I'm wondering, is there any way that the sewer could absorb just a repair of what we dig up in
The
2023?
sewer would, that whole project, I
Well,
believe, it would,
Well, because part of that's gonna be, we're hoping to get the CSO money.
this is, so this,
So
the
part of-
Maple Park sewer and the Church Street repair is paid out of CSO money. We have a certain set of money that the state's through the whole ARPA
Right.
infrastructure, and
We're waiting on Wayne to 100% confirm that for us.
no, he's 100%
Oh, he has.
confirmed it. Yeah, so we have to file an amendment for that, which Wayne, Elliott, Aldrich and Elliott are working on, but it's been 100% confirmed that we can use the CSO money for Maple and Church Street sewer repairs, because it
And
ties
that
into our
in-
CSO.
That includes pavement,
I'm pretty,
repair of roadway caused by repairs.
I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% confident, yes, on
Okay.
that.
So remember the other portion of this, through. So if everything, if we get all our wishes come true, I guess, because part of that CSO money is also to do Elm Street. So we're also trying to accommodate traffic in people's lives. So in theory, I gotta go back and review all of Wayne, because Wayne sent us some updated emails of kind of reality. But we have the East Berkshire, West Berkshire water line. And then we have Elm Street, which we're gonna be working on the water lines and the sewer lines there. So we're trying to make this people's lives as easy as possible. Then if all that comes through as planned, you know, then we're talking Vital Village 25, 24, 25. So we're trying to plan this out strategically so that life is partially miserable, not fully miserable.
So it's not all road work.
Elm
Yeah, not every
Yeah.
street in the
Right.
entire town.
Yeah,
Right
you can't
now,
go anywhere, so.
it's looking like Elm
Yeah.
Street is
Out
gonna
of
be
town.
2024, based on this last email from Wayne, and that their state is kind of slower to process things right now. He doesn't think we'll be able to do Elm Street in 2024. We're gonna try to keep pushing him to do Elm Street for next year, but I don't, right now it's not sounding like that's plausible. But the Church Street Maple Park can happen, and then the Berkshire Road is already budgeted and in the works.
Right.
for
I-
next year.
Tag with people at West Berkshire.
So I'm just concerned with that $126,000 paving project. So is that for just a shim over the whole Church Street after the paving, or after the sewer line repair
No,
has been
that's
done?
to do the, that's the, what do you call that?
That's the whole deal.
That's the whole deal.
Cause I was under the assumption that it
So
wasn't
that's perfect.
due to be
No.
paved, and if we're paving it just because we're repairing the sewer, I feel like that money should be coming out of wastewater.
So that was gonna be Church street reclaiming and then paving. So it's gonna mill 2 inches of the existing pavement, adjust elevation of the water valve boxes, adjust the manholes, and then repave it. Plus, and this also factors in stop bars, crosswalk, and everything. Yeah, I have that. You can take a look at it.
No, that's fine.
You
The
have it.
scope of work is
So it's
not what's bothering me. I just don't know what account it should be coming out of.
So if we're gonna be repaving it, if we were to not have it on the table under the general fund as a road that we were gonna repave, then it would come out of the wastewater department, because it would basically be the repair after they make the sewer line fix. It's kind of 2 separate projects that are tied together, because when Brian found out that we were looking at Church Street, he's like, well, hold on a minute. I might, we've got a section that needs to be fixed. I don't believe at this point that the price we got to do it for the sewer repair factored in repaving it, but I can clarify that. And I don't know if the CSO money would cover that.
Well,
stuff.
that's what I'm asking. Okay, let's just say, for instance, Church Street is brand new, and we go in and replace a sewer line because the sewer line needs to be replaced. So we're gonna need to repair that road after it's done.
Typically,
That shouldn't come out of the general.
Typically, the way we've always done it in the past, like if we have a water break and they have to refix that section, that comes out of the water budget.
Right.
But I don't know that we've run into this situation, and because of the type of funding, I will clarify that.
So let's see if we can use any of that CSO money, at least for the part of the road that's ripped up, to repair the sewer
Oh,
line.
so just to like offset 126.
Exactly, that way we're not, because they can pay for it out of pocket. We're gonna have to finance this, and if we're
Yeah.
talking 4%,
That's
that's
a big
not
difference.
good. So let's just say we got 300 linear feet of roadway that can come out of the sewer fund, because they would pay for it anyway, because that road doesn't really need to be done right now. That way it can kind of
No, that's a
They're making it
very
need to
valid
be done.
point.
take a
Basically.
chunk out of that. Or we can even do it in 2 years. Let's just say we'll have that section of road repaved, and then we'll do the other
Hold off till 2024.
on the other stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least explore that and see what we can do.
Okay, so I'll follow back up. With Brian and Wayne, kind of clarify that, and then, the rest of it, we'll hopefully put a bid packet together February for the sidewalks, and, go from there. We already have a couple contractors that know to keep an eye out for it, so. Okay. So we'll give that one more shot with the Church Street, and then I'll have that for you guys hopefully for the next meeting to go over.
Perfect.
While we're on budgets, I was just remembering, John, as you were talking about the Battle Village, that last year, a little later than this, Greta came to us wondering about if we wanted to pursue that grant.
So March.
Yeah, it was
Right.
really, really late, it was like the 11th and a half hour. So I'm just gonna bring it up right now, so that maybe we don't talk about it tonight, we think about it for next meeting or something, but I don't even remember the numbers of what we would have had to set
So it's
aside.
it's $1.5 million total was the last estimate that we got,
Not that we would have,
and we would be
in
on the
1
hook
year.
for 20%, which I think we're on the hook for like 300 to 400, and no, it would not all hit in 1 year. It'd be over the span of the loan or the life of the project, which I can't remember if it's a 3 or 5 year
I think
grant.
it's 5. I think it's 5.
5. So if we were to apply 2023, get it, we'd have until 2028. So we'd have to look at how much it is going to hit. Greta and I have already kind of started that conversation, because she wrote me a letter of support for the grant that I'm applying for tomorrow, and her and I have just been chatting back and forth. So yeah, that is a decision. Except whether you guys want to talk full on get into it tonight or not, that is a decision. That's
I think I wanna be refreshed with numbers personally and the timeline, I don't know.
So
It's been a long time.
we can
Yeah,
we can
I
pull
mean, since we looked at it.
we can pull all of that back up. I mean, John and I can put together kind of a refresher packet with the last numbers that we have, which I'm sure are subject to change again. But
And we've asked Wayne and his crew, because they don't generally do vital village type revitalization type projects, but they said they might for us to do it. It's kind of looking at his workforce, I guess, to see if they would be able to pull off doing the whole project and moving it to them. And we've also asked them to start looking at the infrastructure, what that looks like. Because again, that would be done
Yeah.
first, and then
Kinda good to have a picture of it before.
yeah. So again, it's just a matter of, with that grant, if it's 2028, it's crazy to think, but we might be pushing the envelope by the time we get these other projects done, Elm Street, and then we'd be working our way down Main Street to get the infrastructure there completed, hopefully 26, 27, and then that's when we'd be looking at revitalization.
well, I think like some of it was that we wanted to tie in those projects on Main Street with the revitalization, since we're already gonna be doing stuff on Main
so
Street.
it
Well,
wouldn't be
right.
covered by the grant. We would have to fund or find alternate funding for all of the infrastructure upgrades
Right,
before
right.
Vital Village. Because our thing is, if we're gonna tear Main Street up, let's do it right and address
Do it
everything
all
at
at the
once.
same
So
time.
we
So
don't
this-
have to do it again.
This application might not be the year for us still, but it would be nice to just look at the numbers.
Yeah, and
Again, it comes back to timing, and the same with this TIF district, so, I mean, these things, unfortunately, the best case scenario one was Killington was 2 years. And that was like, this consultant we're talking with felt that was a rush, I mean, she got pushed through pretty quickly, so 2 years, you're talking 2 years, so you're talking 2025 anyway, if you're looking at this TIF district. So it's hard, because then you go around to the private corporations that might benefit from this, like a Franco Foods and so forth, which in the way things are in the world right now, maybe it may take them 2 years to get going because of supply chain and all that stuff. So again, it's kind of like so I agree, I don't have any problem, I think we should apply, despite what Abby says. We fight that too, and sometimes
What if we get it?
that
We gotta go.
it's not that I'm opposed to applying to it, despite what Jim Cameron thinks about how I feel about this whole project, but it's not that I'm opposed to applying it, but I just wanna make sure we have our ducks in a row, because what I think that they're failing to see is that we have so many other projects, like Elm Street we have funding for, there's the sidewalk portion we have funding for, like, we have so many irons in the fire kind of on this whole strip already, that we need to make sure we're not overloading ourselves, overloading the community, and just logistically have a plan.
So it's gotta be, I mean, that's what I'm working on, is the grand plan of it all.
Yeah.
And then how do you implement this TIF district with it? And,
The TIF district could help fund all of the infrastructure on Main Street.
yeah, it'll be part of the
So
funding
it's-
of it. So then it's just the timing. So let's say we go after this TIF district. Now, in theory, waiting 2 years, but again, we have plenty of projects to do in that time frame. We have 2 years of projects anyway between this Maple Park, Church Street, Elm Street. So hopefully we get those cleaned up by 2024. I mean, it could all work. It's just, I mean, we're all in the planning process of it all. I mean, I see it working, but again, it's just like things are gonna have to be perfectly dropped in at the right time.
Just align those planets.
We're trying, like I'll
We're
say.
we are.
I mean, if we can get to the point in the next 2 or 3 years where we do have all that information on what infrastructure would need to be done before, I think I'd be a lot more comfortable applying for anything, because at that point, it's, once we get the money, it's go time.
So
Well,
we
we
have,
know.
we
Well,
we
know
know.
exactly what needs to be done. We have it all.
So the sewer line's fine on Main Street, that was replaced in early 2000s. The storm drain is the old 8-inch clay it's the old sewer line, it's an 8-inch clay pipe, I mean, that has to be pretty much doubled in size and replaced. And then the water line needs to replace, and we have very rough numbers already from Wayne on what all of this is gonna cost.
And basically from right here, this corner, all the way to.
And we still need to get numbers for if we were to go with a power underground, we haven't
Right.
gone that far yet.
That's gonna take some time, I think.
Yeah, cause that whole thing is gonna have to be, it's probably a system impact study, I'm assuming we're gonna have to do, plus all the engineering, the cost, Comcast consolidated, you know, if they don't wanna move their poles, we're either gonna have to pay for it, or,
It's gonna be a lot of work, but I don't know.
It's gonna be a hell of a benefit if we can do it.
It's my personal opinion that all of those wires right there makes it look like
Stuff.
1920s New
Yep.
York City.
They do, and no matter what else we do, they're still gonna look that way if we don't change them.
And if we move around it, then it's just, I really think that's an avenue that we should at least look down to see if
It's
it's
just still looks sick
feasible
on the paper.
at all. And if,
well, in your defense, we were gonna try to start that this year. But, that got pushed off because of the Kendall controls, so.
And the power, I mean, I agree, and I don't think power needs to go all the way up Main Street, but if it can go from, yeah, exactly. But again, then, you know, we may have to work backwards then, or basically be coming down Elm Street this way I envision it.
You know, like from the Spavin Cure down, for instance, or up that far.
No, Lake Pleasant. Lake Pleasant Street down, because that's where we're gonna be tearing up for water and sewer anyway.
oh, you wanna go all the way to Pleasant?
Wow,
That's where.
up around the
we're gonna
corner
have it
to
dug up, we're gonna have it dug up that
the
far.
intersection of
Might as
Pleasant,
well, then.
So,
Yeah.
North Main.
Or at least see, I mean, there's not,
I've got reached out to my contacts at Comcast, and I haven't reached out to Consolidated or Sura to ask anybody in particular other than some local folks for Consolidated, but as far as I know, we can advise them to force relocate which way the power comes. And they kind of have to, okay.
Well, other cities and towns have done this, and I've not seen any, I don't think, where they had to leave some because some of the entities refused to have theirs changed.
well, what do they own, like 2 feet of the pole? So we'll
They
just
rent from us.
they rent from us.
cut that 2 feet off. We'll take the rest and we'll keep that, just leave them there.
And yours wherever you want.
Put it wherever you want.
There's no power on there, so we'll leave it all on the ground.
Yeah. No, I would really like to look in, well.
I think they would, I can't imagine that they actually, when they stopped and thought about it, and thought about the impact that it's gonna have on the community, that they wouldn't say, yeah, we're in.
The tree can't fall on your power, or on your
Yeah.
communications
Yeah.
line when it's
Right.
underground.
Yeah.
So, see what they do down in Florida, they're just burying
Burying
everything.
everything.
Gotta fix it every year, cause it hurts.
I think GMP is now, I think a lot of their stuff is, anything new, they're going in the ground, they're not messing around with aerial anymore either.
And I'm wondering if you can use any of that CUD money for infrastructure upgrades, if that would classify? Cause it's an aesthetic upgrade for sure, but I mean, you could upgrade your,
It's a safety upgrade even. Nobody can hit a pole anymore, kill themselves.
I feel like it was like a wonder about like upgrading lines and stuff too.
Well, unfortunately for us, that's one thing Dave cringes is, this is this stretch from here to about, the Pearly Block is the newest and greatest power line we have
The
in the whole
newest and
grid.
greatest line.
But, you know, it's like computers, new
well,
and
it's
great
probably the
doesn't
one
stay
that
new
gets
very
used the
long.
most too.
It is,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
And I
yes,
don't think,
it's all being planned and it is all being orchestrated and we'll present it soon, but we have some more work to do first.
It's all gonna come out in the wash.
It wasn't done today, neither is Easter Falls.
Up on Pleasant Street, like in front of my house, is that sidewalk?
We're leaving it.
That's not, okay.
Okay.
No,
Particularly in front of your house.
he's picking.
we're not touching that, right? The sidewalk is gonna continue down to McDonald's, or from McDonald's down a little ways?
That's the whole Elm Street project, we're kind of back to the drawing board a little bit on that one.
Back on the
So-
drawing board.
Let's just wait and see what happens with that whole intersection. We'll give it 6 months to a year, and I bet a lot of people can change their tune on stoplight not required.
They just
See how many
opened
people
on
get killed with
Saturday.
cat food in their car?
Yeah.
You got a point too.
It's gonna be, I'm kind of with Sam, I'm really curious how Tractor Supply supply being there is going to impact, because right now, we could extend where the village limit is, and we could put up a traffic light, but that is an astronomical cost, and that's why the state doesn't wanna do it, because it's so expensive.
Oh, put up a traffic light? Why so much?
I don't know, but
Well,
I
it wasn't
didn't,
the
that-
cost, they just felt that.
no, it was the cost, before you started, one of the meetings we had with Bethany was the cost.
Like what kind of, like how much we talking?
Like, way more than what the whole Elm Street sidewalk project is, and that's about a $400,000.
Serious?
$400,000?
Over $500,000
Put a
it's
stop
coming. So that's what they're telling me, that's what NRCP is telling me and has
They
told
need
me.
to shop around.
And they're also saying, and it's also saying that there's not a need for the studies that they did at the
Right,
time.
Yeah.
and I think that's subject to change, isn't it?
And it's,
I don't know if what was it, there wasn't enough accidents reported
That's,
per
yeah,
year?
there's not
And
enough.
it's like, that's not a way to gauge that.
How about near accidents? But, yeah, so it's not off the table, Leonard, but with,
It might be the time to strike two again, because, you know, there's a big focus actually. So that meeting, there's a big focus, I mean, 105 from here to St. Albans.
Right.
yeah,
That's 105,
It's-
so I
yeah.
mean, if they're looking to.
how many more do you want?
You know, and I wonder like that, healthy, Vermont Healthy Communities thing, because it's about, accessibility and equity within the communities, like, we're gonna have people walking up there, if we're trying to get people to walk up there to enjoy the park that's
It'd be nice to keep them
building.
alive.
Yeah,
did you,
exactly.
did you see the email Amy sent? I think she sent it to you and I.
Yeah, with some grant opportunities, I didn't really look.
I did go in and kind of sign us up to be a member of one of them. So there may be another opportunity there. I don't know if it would do a traffic light per se.
Right, I wonder how much, it just gets me thinking of, like, there's a specific project or problem that needs to be solved, how much state funding, like, how many different avenues of grant sources can you get for one project?
It depends on the
Because we already
project.
have money awarded from one, and so I don't know if we can even get more
Right,
money from another.
I'm not sure. I think it depends on the grant, like the one that we're applying for tomorrow, you can apply for multiple projects in one municipality for.
Yeah,
So I think it depends on that, which state entity you're
Right,
dealing
and
with.
sometimes the project is only one part of our larger project
Mhm.
too, so like the sidewalk is a project, but the parks project is another project, so they wouldn't be considered matching or anything.
Right,
But it all depends on the grant itself.
So like traffic control on the Elm Street sidewalk could be two separate
Right.
projects, but kind of.
correct.
In the TIF districts, if you get funds through grants, it doesn't matter.
So you can just keep getting them.
Well, so I mean, because it's a taxing process, but
Yep.
it doesn't matter if it's, we raise it through taxes or if we get a grant, it doesn't matter.
That's good.
Electric department, unless we have more on those stuff.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. It's not pretty. I mean, there's no other way to start this conversation. Right now for 2022, we're looking at 600,000 give or take deficit is what is forecasted. At the moment, we budgeted a $489,000 deficit, and the increases are right now our purchase power. We're trending to be like a couple $100,000 over budget. Transmission cost about 70,000. Obviously, the Kendall controls hit. That was about $50,000 more than what we had initially anticipated in there. Some smaller stuff, but those are kind of the big ticket items. So far, the numbers for 2023 with just VEPSA charges alone, not counting the AMI project, which we'll get to that in a second, we're looking at a $250,000 increase just in VEPSA charges alone. So it's a bleak outlook at the moment, and John keeps reminding me that, you know, it's not in a good spot right now, but we have a lot of good plans coming together that we're trying to implement that's going to help all of this. We are, right now the plan is to go for another rate case. I just found out at the VEPSA meeting last week, it's probably going to be May or June before they can get to us because there's so many municipalities going for rate cases, and I At what?
IRPs.
And IRPs are due this year, so, and with what they have for staffing at VEPSA, they're just max capacity right now. So I was hoping we were gonna be able to go for the rate case in February, but now it's May or June.
Can we get in line right now?
We're in line,
Cool.
like 7th.
So who ultimately is the authority over the transmission provider? Is it NEPA or VEPSA?
What do you mean,
Like, who controls the company that charges us for transmission costs?
I think it depends on our contracts.
Yeah.
John, correct me if I'm wrong.
So it would be private companies.
Yeah.
So how is VEPSA not screaming their head off at these companies for raising the rates
Well, like
so much?
ours comes through VEC, like our transmission, the way it comes through VEC. So our costs are coming, a lot of it is to VEC.
Some of it too, but good, bad, or indifferent. Some of these increased costs, and it is something that Northern New England complains a bit about, is we're basically helping foot the bill for a lot of the infrastructure that's being built in Southern New England through ISO. Wind turbines, offshore wind turbines, what they have to build for grids to get that energy back through land and distributed. It's a whole myriad of things. We were sitting earlier watching the kilowatt hours. It was 262 was the highest.
Over ice in New England.
Yeah.
It went from 260, I think what you sent me earlier, to 327.
Oh, went up to 327.
Yeah, remember when I had like
Oh.
mini heart attack?
Yeah. So we're already at last year's highs. And it's only beginning of December.
It's not even that cold yet.
Middle of December. So yeah.
Somebody's got to start saying something, because
Wow.
I'm sure we're not the only municipality around.
We're not, and there's a lot of people.
No, it's a struggle right now.
Yeah.
It's a huge struggle, and again, it's the folks that. There's a couple of villages that had plans in place, like Hardwick. They're doing well because they're lighting up solar panels and so forth. Swanton's turned out well because they continue to have good rain and water for their hydros. So it is an issue, and then you couple that with the res and rec costs are going up and our percentages are going up. So that's why we're ultra focused on how we generate internally, to get those transmission costs.
The more we can generate ourselves between whether it's our hydros or solar or battery or anything to that degree is less power we're purchasing off the grid at $327 and then that lowers our transmission costs as well. So, like I said, there's a lot of factors that I think, we're trying to look at a 5-10 year plan. Like, we're not in a good situation maybe at the moment, but we have a bunch of irons in the fire to turn this around. We just need to strategically get through the next couple of years. And
I even thought about buying a diesel generator, throwing it up there, even if it's a 1 megawatt, kicking that thing on tonight.
right when the prices are
Wait,
so
what
high.
are we paying? 300 per kilowatt?
That's what the market's showing.
It's like the stock market. I mean,
Convert that to gas.
when I just shut my computer down to come in here at 20 after 6, it was down to like 294. So you sit there and it keeps refreshing and it keeps changing. So it's not a constant. We have our contracts, like our set contracts that we do purchase some of our power through, but we don't have enough of those essentially for all of our power. And part of that is our hydro numbers have been down over the last 3 years, so we're having to budget higher off the open market essentially. We saw it last January. Our purchase power bill for last January was $326,000, and the prices are even higher already. So that's kind of what the wind, they're looking at the offshore wind for the winter months to offset, because that's when that's highest production. But that's one of the things where I feel like our VEPs with the purchase power and transmission are probably out of our, say, $5 million budget right there is, you know, 2.5 million, if not more.
Half of our budget.
Yeah.
Purchase power.
And then you've got the res is going up every year, our renewable energy standard, the amount of credits that we have to purchase, that's gonna continue to go up every year because of the whole push to 2035 to be completely renewable, so every year we're gonna see an increase in that. We are part owners in the McNeil project, which is the wood burning facility that P.E.G owns a majority of. There's some capital projects this year, so I mean, we're looking at $85,000 increase just in our McNeil portion. So there's a lot of players with that we don't have a lot of.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, but we don't have a lot of control over.
But the returns will start showing in a couple of years.
The returns will, no, we gotta make adjustments to
Right.
get purchase power.
What about that McNeil thing? That's just, we're just
Well,
showing
that
money out
was,
for
yeah,
somebody
that was
else's
a,
thing.
that was an upgrade.
Those are just upgrades that they pushed off.
So there's a
to COVID.
one-time
Yeah.
upgrades that we're getting hit with this year. But, I mean, the future plan is generation, what we'd be looking at for generation, so that would reduce our transmission costs and our purchase power. So we don't have to go to the open market, or if the open market goes crazy, we can kick on some kind of generation.
Right, so
And say, okay, we're gonna use ours internally until
Yeah, we're gonna.
prices come back.
Right, say we have a natural gas generator or something, we're gonna kick that on for the peak hours. If we can hit those peak hours just right, that will say, that's when the prices all go up. So you know that 4 to 9 p.m. kind of window, let's kick that on. Even if, like John said, even if it's 1 megawatt, that will save us thousands.
yeah.
So it's kind of just figuring out what we can do and what's the best direction for us to go.
So have you got any projected generation numbers from having both hydros online for
So
next year?
our max capacity is 975 kilowatts. We've been kind of looking at that. Dave and I are gonna really look at the November numbers because for November, we've had really good flows. So the Kendall has been producing at pretty much almost max capacity from like 230 to 300 kilowatts. And we've been running the Village 1 plant has been anywhere from like 70 to 85%. We've been trying to keep it. They did just have to back it down a little bit because the river the flows are going down. So when we get the November purchase power, which I should hopefully have by the end of next week, Dave and I are gonna kind of look at those numbers, compare it to ours, and really look at what's going on. Part of our FERC licensing right now, we are looking at getting an engineering firm in here to kind of do a study. What is the best, most efficient way for us to run these hydros to get max generation? Part of that is, one of my other items to talk to you guys about tonight is we need to dredge the Village 1 tail race canal. We just did the Kendall this year, but by doing that alone put up our production 5 to 10%. There's some cracks underneath the powerhouse where the water is going through those cracks, so it's being diverted and we're not getting it to go run through our turbine. Again, fix those cracks, possibly another 5% in production. There's some stuff there. I mean, we're talking, if we do those two things, 5 to 15% increase over where we're at right now, and also that helps us with our FERC relicensing, because this is stuff that was presented to previous administration back in 2018 that we needed to do, and it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, the tail race has been brought up to be dredged in 2018 was on the list.
Yeah, and this was also part of that whole big project with Kingsbury Construction where we didn't get through all of the phases. So this was supposed to have happened and it didn't work out for whatever reasons. But so this is stuff that we need to look at doing again in 2023. I don't have numbers for you right now to discuss, and the other thing is also flipping the trash racks rather than replacing the whole trash racks. M&K was here this summer. They dredged the Kendall tail race and they did our annual inspection on the racks, and they said their recommendation is to flip them rather than rebuilding them, and that we should be able to get probably another 5 5 to 7 years out of those racks before we have to look into rebuilding a big set of racks out there.
Didn't we just replace one?
Ah,
Like 8 single sections, I remember it was really expensive.
it's super expensive.
Like
to
14
replace
grand
it.
for one section.
That's usually what the inspection usually costs, about that. It's about 16.
They fixed it just recently, then they
They
fixed
come
it
in and they
again.
do welding, do some small repairs, and that is annually, that, you've probably seen that, it runs in the $14,000 to $16,000 ballpark. It was $23,000 this year because we threw in dredging at Kendall. So Dave and I had a conversation this morning, you know, we definitely should have them come back, and they're willing to flip them, do any repairs that they need to do, because the ice really does a number on those. So those are, 3 things I need to pull some numbers together, and when we repair the cracks, we're gonna have to shut down and drain the canal entirely.
We're gonna have to do that for dredging too, right? Well, ideally low water.
Lower,
dredge.
my hope is that if I start reaching out and communicating now, we can get on the books for July, August, because that's our driest months.
And then
our
can we
numbers
pond
are
during
quite
that
down.
time to pretty much get everything out from down there?
Possibly, I'm not sure. Dave would be the one, I don't know if John knows the answer to that, I don't.
Because the lower the water level, the more you can theoretically dredge out of that tail base.
Right. Yeah, that's just it, I mean,
Well, yeah, it's
take
gonna
what
have
it
to be
is,
backed
go.
off anyway to replace the
tracks.
repair the
Track tracks.
the
Cracks.
repair.
Well, you're gonna have to shut the gate valve for that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
That's the other thing, when we have them there dredging, take it down another foot, that will increase capacity.
I don't know if you can, it's all
I know,
ledge.
that's
so-
where we have to look to see,
Yeah.
that's an option, like, can we go any lower than what it is, like, get it down as low as we can go. That will help our production significantly, so that's part of why I don't have the budget together, because I don't have numbers for that yet. This all just came about in a FERC call last week. AMI, we are in the first rollout, so there's gonna be a lot of work starting in 2023 for AMI. We did get, VEPSA as a whole is getting so much money, so it's gonna cover, I think, half of ours. Is it about half? So we're gonna be on the hook still for about 400,000, I think it works out to be. It's, again, one of those, we're not gonna have to finance it all in 1 year, but we're gonna be starting in 2023, so I need to reach out to VEPSA and what should I be budgeting for 2023, and then we need to make the decision. VEPSA has been working with a bank, a local bank, to basically finance everything, so we have the option where we can finance it through VEPSA and have them send us our monthly invoice and pay monthly on it, or we can finance it ourselves.
VEPSA's worked out well in the past, I think.
It's gonna be your do you remember, wasn't it 4.5% interest? With Community Bank. It's a 10-year, 8 or 10-year note? I can't remember. It's an 8 or 10-year note, but again, we're looking at 4.5%.
With a projected 5-year return on AMI though, it's kinda
Right. Kind of
worth
hard
it.
not to. So I just need to know if that's the direction we wanna go, is finance through VEPSA. And then I can start asking the questions of what that's gonna look like, or if we want to try to independently find financing, which if we do it, I think we'd have to probably look at like a line of credit, because it's gonna be over the next couple of years,
It's gonna have to be bonded too, right?
I believe, so.
Cause it's over the 50,000, gonna be bonded? It used to be 5.
I think it's 50,
Yeah.
that sounds right. That sounds correct. So that's the other piece that I don't have in the budget yet to be able to solidly say, this is what we're looking at.
So we are for sure gonna be paying on AMI in 23.
Yes. They're gonna be starting a lot of the logistics, ordering of the meters, we've gotta get meters ordered.
I think it's just on hold right now, we're waiting for the state to finalize that number, that's what that's waiting on.
They've been
The grant funding.
pressuring them a lot to get final numbers.
They keep saying every 2 weeks, that was 3 months ago.
Right.
Well,
So-
no, they are pressuring the state.
Right.
There was,
Which they just, sorry to interrupt, but they just came out with another grant that they've been waiting on, so hopefully
good.
this will,
Maybe
we
things are
found
looking
out
up.
today, so hopefully maybe, I'm guessing they're trying to get it done by the end of the year.
If I remember correctly, they were gonna select 2 municipalities to start with.
There's gonna be, I think now there's 3 of us.
Yeah, so that's.
Okay, so we did get selected though.
Yeah, we were one of
We-
those.
we
We're
were-
going.
We are confirmed it's us, Swanton, remember who the third is?
I think it's more still.
Yeah, there's 3, we were originally in like the 4th round, and if that were the case, it would probably be like 2030 by the time
Yeah.
we get in
Yeah.
by. So John and I both were like, no.
Well, the other positive of going now is, so if you're not aware, Ken Santamore, he's been doing these meetings before, he lives in Swanton, but he's like the IT guy and he's been around for 100 years. He's retiring next year this time, but he kind of wants to get, I think he was gonna try to retire sooner, but I kind of talked him into staying to at least get this project off the ground, so we'll at least have him around, who knows our network, in and out, knows Swanton,
Those
in
people
and
are
out,
good.
And
knows everybody.
I believe they've got him talked in to stay on after he retires, consulting only for AMI, as long as they promise not to pull him into anything else.
So I think
Otherwise,
it's
they
gonna
think
be,
it's his wife.
Yeah,
But
I think it's gonna be worthwhile to
Yeah.
have at least our feet under us with him here, so if he
Yeah.
leaves, at least we'll understand it and can keep rolling from there, so that's the other reason it's positive that we're starting now.
No, that's good news. It's good that we actually got something
Yeah.
going like right
It's
off.
actually gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we're not on the bottom of the list.
yeah, no, that was a definite move up for us. We have to move into the first round. It'll be, it's a big price tag up front, but there's a pretty quick return on it and the direction that the state's going. I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff in my email I need to read. They're already discussing rates for EV chargers, different rates. So in order for us to be able to meet all of that, we can't do it with the meters we have. So we need to do time and use meters. So it's a really positive direction for us. And that there's state funding available, I mean, that's a huge one for VEPSA and everybody involved. The last just talking point on the electric department is just a quick update on the weatherization of Village 1. That's still on my radar. I've still been working on that, but found out we were initially told that we didn't have to go through historical preservation. That is incorrect. We do have to go through historical preservation, even though it's on the inside of the building. So I am in that process right now. Polly Allen, who is a historic consultant, she's doing all of our FERC stuff, is agreed to kind of take this on. And we had a call yesterday with the state, I think it was yesterday or the day before with the state, last week maybe. Getting the ball rolling. There's some pushback on using spray foam. So right now, it looks like where the turbine sits, the turbine pit, that side, we could do spray foam, but the first part, like where the controls are, when you walk in, we most likely are not gonna be able to do spray foam because that's the original ceiling line and everything. Polly's coming on site next week to confirm that. We're gonna confirm that, but
Efficient building.
Use sawdust.
it's foam board. They call it
Newspapers.
mineral wall, but that's
Yeah.
what they're recommending, cause it's not permanent. If there was ever, is there a concern with moisture with spray foam? There's just a lot there, so.
Spray foam
Well, some
also
spray
apparently
foam.
is not affordable right now.
No, the prices have gone up significantly.
Yeah.
We did our house in the nick of time, cause we still have the section left and we called and it's not pretty.
No, it's
And
not.
then it's not easily accessible right now too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, the
We're-
foam might be their choice.
we may be able to have this whole project potentially funded though, outside funding where we won't have to pay for anything through some stuff with Efficiency Vermont. That's the only kind of plus side to that, but I did just want to give you guys a quick update on that, because I know I brought that up and then I went kind of radio silent for a while, but it's still in the works, just more hoops that we have to jump through.
We know you're always working behind the scenes.
But I'm hoping we'll, in the next couple weeks, be able to really pull it together so we can go out to bid and get on people's radar. Because January and February, when we can't run the hydros as much because everything's iced up, we're basically throwing dollar bills out the window with that place. so
It'll be a nice inside warm job for a contractor.
it will be, so.
We'll be jumping all over.
So we're gaining, there's just like John said, there's just a lot of logistics and I need a few more answers to a couple numbers before I'm comfortable putting that budget before you. So the next meeting, I'm hoping to have that a little more solidified, so, and Dave will be here to answer any questions about anything too, so.
Perfect.
But I think budgets overall, we're in a pretty good spot. It's just kind of a waiting game, especially on water and wastewater. Just waiting for the insurance company to get back to me with solid numbers and stuff, so that those will be pretty quick updates to approve. So I'm hoping the first meeting in January we'll be able to approve everything.
That would be great.
That's all I got.
Any questions? Great, thank you. All right, move on to manager's report.
Oh, just real quick, holiday event, thank you everybody for coming. Nice
Fun.
event,
Let's
so,
get done.
thank you. So I am working on speaking at the high school, I might be starting with the government student body. And then we're gonna discuss some things and then go from there. Just trying to get in front of, I guess, I know that they're teenagers and I know that they have a short focus. I mean, I can remember being 17, 18 and not giving two craps what the guy was saying if they was speaking. So trying to narrow it down, work with the student government body. I also met Rob in the ROTC and community. I met him. Yeah, at the meeting this morning. So I talked to him after the meeting real quick and we're gonna meet as well with Maggie and discuss some things. So I guess my thought process was to try to get in front of those folks, because no offense to anybody that goes to these meetings, but a lot of these meetings I go to at night, you know, like people there are probably average of 58 years old. So just trying to get in front of some of these folks that are younger and will be coming into the workforce and getting out in the community. And you know, I know right now they may not care, but probably in a few years they're going to start understanding why they need to care about their community and so forth. So
I think there's quite a lot that do care right now too, and I
Right.
think it's awesome that we reached them. I know, the meeting that we had a couple weeks ago, it was announced at the school, but it's just, you know, sports practice, short notice for them, by the time I thought to like send it out to the principal.
We've reached
In
out.
transportation.
We've reached out to
All
them.
on their own card.
Yeah, we've reached out to them too for volunteer stuff. You know, we got the Bridge of Flower and Lights project and a few other for community service or stuff. So we're trying to kind of keep them in the loop and start that dialogue and have them get involved as well. Have the students get more involved.
My wheels are turning about an after school club.
and again, I know it's hard. You know, we talked about in the EBA meeting, these, you know, even the kids that all have to have community hours, but they wait and so forth. So again, just trying to reach out to some of the, I know just like in adult life, I guess, you know, you're gonna have your same 20 people that'll show up and pitch in, but same in the school, you know, I mean, again, I know there are probably quite a few kids that are concerned or have a bigger picture already, but you know, trying to reach some other kids that may not, per se, and see if we can get them to help or pitch in.
Is this gonna be a whole school assembly?
For starters, well, I gotta meet with Maggie, you know, we're gonna talk to the student government body first and kind of come up with a game plan and see.
Yeah, cause I can
Okay.
kind of foresee, inviting a couple of those school groups during their TA time, just about a 45-minute time period before lunch, which would get about 20 to 40 students together, and that could be like a pretty good stepping point, smaller group to talk to.
Yeah, maybe go a couple different smaller groups. It was interesting, is that good, bad, or different, they said that they never had anybody speak from the outside before. This is
Wow.
That's
That's
interesting.
Maybe we could get somebody interested in this. I think some municipalities have actually taken a step forward and actually have put a young person on their board.
Absolutely.
And I know that FCIDC did with Blaze Duffy, and it worked out very, very well.
I in
I
high
think
school was on the
Franklin or-
restorative
yeah, I
justice
think Franklin
board.
is good.
Are they non-voting members? Is that how
I
it works?
think so.
Yeah, I think
'cause they
it's-
can get to
yeah.
be 18 to
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
Or just participate though?
Right.
Yeah, they can, like in Iceland, like they're actually like part of the official government, like the government can't actually make any decisions that affect youth without the youth government body voting on, or giving their opinion on it.
Hmm.
So it'd be, I think I actually have some material pulled away in my emails about how the.
Are you
board
speaking-
work.
Are you speaking, John, at the high school or at the vote center?
At the high school.
At the high school.
See what I got myself into, Leonard.
You'll be fine. You did, by the way, if anybody,
I
I
don't-
don't know if everybody here was at that community meeting that we had, but our village manager stood up and spoke at the meeting, and I was
Did very well.
very pleased and very
Very
proud
good.
that you were up there doing that. Thought you did a great job.
That's why I don't mean, Maggie, again, I don't think I'm good at it, but I mean, it doesn't bother me. I coached for a lot of years, so I don't.
Well, you're not going to
understand
speak to them, you're just gonna go talk with them.
Exactly. I mean, I don't have an issue with it, so. But, I mean, we'll start there and go from there, so I'll keep you updated on that.
Well, good luck.
I penciled in real quick, so just to update, we do have, the cameras will be going up Thursday with the internet modem and so forth on Main Street. Someone asked me at that meeting, and I don't know, maybe we could discuss it tonight, if there'd be access to those cameras. I can't say I care either way, I just didn't, I would have to get them up and running and then figure out how to, I mean, they go on a Facebook, I don't know what the, communication would be to people to access.
Can you put a link
There
on
might
our
be a
website?
protocol as
But
well.
do we want the general public to see the cameras?
Wow, there used to be a camera there.
And,
Yeah,
no,
I
I
used
mean,
to run that camera.
wait, we're talking about the camera feed though.
Yeah,
Like a live feed.
Yeah,
Live
do we
feed.
want people to be able to just,
Well,
Why
I
should
used
it
to be
bother them
bored
if they
and
aren't
watch
doing
Main
anything wrong?
Street.
I know, I guess I just still live
Way
there,
back in
but-
the
that used to be the most
Well,
important
where do you
field.
hang out? It'll be fine.
Or just people staring at, you know.
Just keep your calls on it.
Main Street
It'll be
Watch,
okay.
same.
Right, yeah, no, I don't.
Don't let the
have
dogs
an
do
issue with
anything.
that. I don't-
I wonder if you could put a link like on our website, if you like to view the cameras, you click.
I'm sure there's a way,
Like you said, get them up and running and worry about it.
yeah, I told him
Yeah.
no, but again, it was no more because I don't know how, I haven't figured that part out yet, I just,
Cross that bridge when you get there.
yeah. I thought about calling a friend at Comcast and asking, because St. Albans still has a camera of Main Street. So I just said, well, I can get on channel 15 on channel 15, I can somehow wire it to him,
So they're going up Thursday?
Thursday.
Get all of our crimes out before then.
Oh, make sure you do everything. you know.
Tires burned off.
Nobody's
Inspect
gonna
that
see this
truck.
recording until at least Friday.
I'll stop going across the street and knocking on the door.
Excellent.
And the EV charger has been shipped. So I got that.
Good.
So that's, we'll be here soon as well.
Lots of good news.
That's all I have for manager report.
Well, thank you.
A couple things in executive, but
The business.
The
Could I
bridge is
just-
lovely.
Could I
Yeah,
just
it's
throw
beautiful.
something out
No.
at you? The Bridge of Flowers at the other end, that beautiful decorated house. When you come down, the hill, if the street would go straight, it would go behind them two houses and it would come straight to 108. And then in front of the house, where is now the S Road, that could become more of a big park for Enosburg.
not a bad idea. I know there's a
It's
lot
an
of
idea.
back there. But
Before putting up the sidewalks and all that, it's just something to look into. Cause you travel that road enough, you know that big S.
Yeah.
Right by the house that's all well decorated, there's been a lot of close calls on that corner.
I think getting the landowners on board and
Well, number
getting,
one.
getting a lot of things on board, but it's also pretty wet.
Yeah.
down there, so.
Well,
What, and isn't there a ledge? Is there
Gravel.
ledge?
There's a big lead or old foundation.
There's a
Yeah.
big like
Yeah,
pond kind of
and you'd be
deal.
pretty much in their people's backyard,
Yeah.
like they could reach out and touch a car probably
So-
going by.
yeah, but they're not
Like you
doing
do in the
nothing
front
with
there
it.
now.
Yeah, say,
It could be raised.
Yeah, I mean,
Just something to look into, that's all. Cause I used to live up that way and that big S,
Go ask the two houses, the owner of those two houses, if they'd be alright with it. Cause if it's a solid no, then
Game over.
that's your answer.
you got a point there. You got a point there.
You like to visit, Leonard, you can do that.
Hello.
Why do you have something? You had something.
No, I was just saying the bridge looks nice, the
Oh,
flowers,
Or
or
beautiful.
the lights.
that's why we gotta fix the tree.
Yeah, we need to fix my tree.
They fall over again?
Well, it
Yeah, just
fell
a
over
little
the
bit
night of the Christmas party, and I sweet talked my husband stopping and helping me at least get it back up, and then got windy again, and it's about leaning pretty good. So I need a couple more sandbags, and we gotta re-straighten it. But it's a 15-foot tree. I can't do it myself, so I gotta sucker somebody into helping me, aka John.
It looks good. Alright, we don't have any,
I just got one more thing to say. I've had a lot of comments that when that little tree fell in the park, that people went by and they saw our village manager out there.
Yeah.
Picking up branches right along with the crew.
And they were amazed and
Amazed.
shocked and pleased.
Yes, yes. People noticed it. Yeah. So thank you.
Oh, okay.
Even though it was very sad. Anybody estimate how old that tree was? It's much older than I am.
Yeah, it's probably 80 years. I think.
so,
30.
Oh, aren't you kidding?
alright, I need a motion to go into executive, for the purpose of discussing negotiations and personal policies.
Second.
In which premature public knowledge may compromise the position of the municipality. Sandy first, Eli second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay.